Good afternoon. I'm Rich Whalen, Ruth Ann's nephew, and I'm really honored to be here today. The family would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for joining us here today. And since we're in church, I thought it would be appropriate to start with a quote from the Bible. Many of you know, Aunt Rudy said this was the Bible. And she wrote this, it's the family history, and it's called Shamrocks and Teardrops. And it was a labor of love. She wrote this with her sister Eileen, my mother. And they chose for the introduction to the book a quote from one of America's great writers, Washington Irving, and it's about tears. There is a sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are the messengers of overwhelming grief, of deep contrition, and of unspeakable love. So if there are any tears today, it's unspeakable love. January 16, 1994, Ted Dingeldein passed away. Terry was in the room, and he heard his mother, Aunt Rudy, her last words were, "Ted, we sure did have fun." Ruth Ann Riley was born in 1927. To give that a little perspective, that's the year Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs and Newt Rockne was coaching Notre Dame. She went to Catholic Central High School during World War II, and she was elected homecoming queen for the class of 1945. And then it was off to college, St. Mary's of the Springs, where she simultaneously dated Bill, Eddie, Paul, and Kenny. Her father told her, "I think the only thing you learned in college was the difference between a Manhattan and a martini." She fell in love with Ted Dingeldein at a Cabanas Club dance, and they were engaged in May of 1947 at an ATO spring formal at Makatiwa Country Club. That's Terry and Molly's country club now. They were married in 1948, and they developed lifelong friendships. Steve and Jane, Bob and Flo, Pat and Bertie, George and Carolyn, many others. They sure did have fun. Ruth Ann was very proud of her Irish Catholic heritage. Her father's lineage included the Rileys, the Frawleys, the Sullivans, and on the mother's side, her grandfather Patrick Lanigan came over on the same boat from Ireland as her grandmother Margaret Byrne. And she loved St. Patrick's Day. She would send the kids off to school with green hair after they had cereal with green milk, took their baths in green bath water. Megan and Rachel can remember sitting down at a finely set table, replete with birthday cake to honor the birthday of Gene Kelly. She was 100% Irish. And Ruth Ann liked her martinis, the occasional martini. She was a participating active member of the Martini Club well into her 80s. Now, you were allowed to drink wine at the Martini Clubs, as long as you had 2 glasses of martini first. When Sean Dingeldein turned 21, she invited her grandsons over to a formal setting to explain how to make a gin martini the proper way, and to let them know that vodka martinis were for sissies. Through all this, I have to say I never once saw Aunt Rudy have too much, well, maybe Robbie's wedding. Aunt Rudy had a great sense of humor. She loved to joke. She loved to laugh. And I can tell you this trait was inherited by all her kids and her grandkids. Once their dog was sick, and she called the vet to get some advice, and the vet said, "Well, how big is your dog?" And she said, "About like a watermelon with 4 legs." Her humor prevailed up to her final days in the hospital not too long ago. Laying on the bed, the doctor said, "Ruth Ann, we're going to order an MRI." She looked at Megan, rolled her eyes, and said, "He's just doing this because he has student loans to pay." She sure did have fun. And she loved her holidays. St. Patrick's Day, of course, was very special to her, but Halloween, she would, in the summertime, she would call Gay Manette down to the sheriff's department and say, Gay, ask the sheriff when trick or treat is this year, because I got to make sure I'm prepared for this. And sure enough, 24 Roosevelt Drive was command post for all the grandchildren, trick-or-treaters. Thanksgiving was a big, big day for Ruth Ann. In the 1950s, the 4 Dingeldein kids and the 8 Whalen kids would be lured into the basement with Jell-O teepees. And then we were pretty much locked down there, so Ruth Ann and Ted and Eileen could sit at the table and talk and have martinis. But as the years went by, Dingeldeins beget Dingeldeins, and Schmidhauers beget Schmidhauers, and Whalens beget Whalens, and we outgrew the basement. So we would rent the KFC and have 60 or 70 of us there on Thanksgiving, with great traditions like the turkey bowl and graham cracker roll and hare salad and euchre tournaments. She loved Thanksgiving, but we all know her holiday was Christmas. And Christmas was so special to her, and all the traditions. Ted would have the kids eat under the tree with him, and then he would read them the night before Christmas and put them to bed. The kids and the grandkids would dutifully head out into the forest to cut down the perfect tree, drag it back to Roosevelt Drive, and realize there's no way it's going to fit in the door. And Granny would supervise the setting out of the decorations, and then on New Year's Day she would supervise the taking down of them. And then, of course, the Christmas night party at 24 Roosevelt, where there'd be 100 people there. Raise your hand if you ever attended a Christmas night party at 24 Roosevelt. Quite a few, half the city, I think. And if you did, you remember Uncle Ted standing there at his place by the door, tending bar, and Aunt Rudy holding court in one of her chairs. They sure did have fun. Webster's dictionary defines a conversationalist as a person who is good at or fond of engaging in conversation. Well, guess whose picture was next to that in the dictionary? Tom Stafford defines a liar as anyone who said, I just had a short talk with Ruth Ann. It usually started out with, now honey, sit down here and tell me what you're up to. And we all became her disciples, eager to visit, to laugh, to learn, to drink a beer. First it started with Terry Whalen's friends. That was the first wave of disciples. Then Tommy's friends, Nancy's friends, Peggy's friends, Terry's friends, and this latest group of disciples were intensely loyal and captivated all the grandkids. Ruth Ann was a prolific card sender, possibly a trait she picked up in World War II when people wrote a lot of letters. Christmas cards, birthday cards, St. Patrick's Day cards, get well cards, congratulation cards. Raise your hand if you ever got a card from Ruth Ann. She was great. We're going to take a little break here. The kids and their friends always ended up on 24 Roosevelt Drive. It's because they were welcome there and because Aunt Rudy was a funny mom. 40 years later, those same kids would be in town for a class reunion. They'd say, hey, before we go out, let's go visit with Rudy. Rudy was a kid at heart. When the washing machine broke down, she would hate to go to the laundromat by herself. So she would bribe Gene Kearns and Nancy into going with her. She'd bribe them by letting them smoke cigarettes and drive Ted's car, which, of course, they weren't old enough to do. But she was the second mother to Tommy Palmer, to Denise Baker, to Doug Montanus, to Trish Godey, and probably 20 others, myself included. And she could discuss any topic. World War II, history, boyfriends, girlfriends. She was a confidant to a lot of teenagers who still visited her when they were going into their 60s. As Trish Godey said, Ruth Ann was very classy. She taught us about fine china, about crystal, about etiquette. Then she'd go out in the backyard and have a cigarette with us and cuss like a sailor. She sure did have fun. But most of all, she loved her family. Mary. No one was spared Mary's acerbic wit, not even Ruth Ann. And Ruth Ann loved it. Of course, Mary had a free pass from day one because she was Irish, and Ruth Ann loved her. Bob, Terry will tell you, Bob was the son she always wished for. Bob was so good to Ted and Ruth Ann, and Ruth Ann thought that Bob hung the moon. Eddie was also very good to Ted and Ruth Ann, and Eddie made Ruth Ann laugh like crazy, especially when Eddie would get upset with Nancy and the kids, and his Tourette's would kick in. Molly loved to talk to Ruth Ann and thought Ruth Ann was hilarious. Terry often told Molly, "Mom likes you better than she likes me." And the grandkids. I guarantee you that every one of those grandkids think that they were special to Aunt Ruth. And it's because they were. The grandkids were amazed at how Ruth Ann knew exactly where every little trinket, 1,000 of them, went to decorate the house for Christmas time. But they all loved to sit and talk with her and ask her questions and Irish traditions and World War II. And they all loved staying with Granny, especially because Granny had air conditioning. She was not underappreciated. Those grandkids knew they had a special Granny. And her children, Tommy, Ruth Ann guided Tommy through those early childhood years of hearing disabilities, and Tommy and I were all just like you. Tommy became a successful teacher, coach, businessman, and father. He had Ted's work ethic, and Ruth Ann was very proud of him. Nancy remembers her mom's ability to turn lemons into lemonade. Like the lean times when once Ruth Ann took a bowl of inexpensive cloth and made clothes for the kids and backpack for the kids out of it. I think this is where Nancy learned the trick of taking her little Izod alligator off her socks and sewing it onto her $4 Kmart sweater. Nancy and Ruth Ann shared a love of the arts their entire life. Peggy remembers Aunt Ruth's great memories. She had a great memory. They said they'd be out, they say, if they didn't know something, Peggy's friends would say, "Call your mom, she'll know." And she did know. And how her mother was so positive. She would always say things like, "Tomorrow is another day, count your blessings." And Terry knows his mother never met a stranger. That's a quality that Terry inherited. And today, Terry wants his mother to know, "Mom, we sure did have fun.